You're listening to the Racing Virginia podcast. Now, here are your hosts.
And welcome to the new and improved Racing Virginia podcast. I guess I can say that.
Improved?
I got a new co-host, folks. He is, of course, he works here, obviously, at Richmond Raceway as well. I don't even know what your title is anymore.
Yet to be determined.
To be determined.
Let's go with that.
He was the he's currently the senior manager of digital strategy
at Richmond
Raceway. He is Brandon Brown. You've heard him on the show several times. Well, he is going to be my new sidekick, my new podcast co-host.
Pretty cool.
It is.
I went to broadcasting school. I haven't used a lot of this stuff in a long time now. This is actually what I wanted to do when I grew up, but I ended up doing social media and different stuff instead. So.
Well, this is going to be fun. This is going to be an interesting reboot. This is going to be a rough show. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it's probably going to be a little rough because we're still fine tuning what we do and how we want to do it. We're going to have more segments. Speaking of our guest today, Clay Campbell, president of Martinsville Speedway, and he's also over the Mid-Atlantic tracks for NASCAR, which is Richmond Raceway, Martinsville, and Darlington. He's been that for quite a while.
Which is where technically I work now.
Yeah. And then we're going to have Brandon Brown. He is the driver of the number 68 Xfinity Series car. Episode 68. Yeah. Might as well have the number 68 on here, right?
Driver 68.
Let's see who else we got. Anyway, got Story Time with Randy Hallman.
Randy Hallman, longtime sports writer covering NASCAR and motorsports around Virginia for it seems like forever.
Yeah.
Guy knows more than pretty much anybody.
Yeah. Logan Roberson out of Dooms, Virginia. He's a dirt late model driver. He just picked up his first super late model win. We've got one of our Team Racing Virginia drivers, Grayson Cullather, drives the number 2 Asphalt Late Model, former Rookie of the Year at Southside Speedway, currently working with Brandon Butler and Timmy Tyrell, another Team Racing Virginia driver, as they prepare Minnie's cars for the Cars Tour. And then, who knows, we may throw something else up there. I want to call Vaughan. I really do.
Really?
I don't know why, but he has this new thing called the Vault, and I guess we need to talk. Yeah. And he is the new promoter of Langley Speedway. I guess we should probably call him.
So he is a very important person in Racing Virginia. So.
I think he's, he probably has got a big head now.
Yeah, what do you want?
Wait a minute, he always had a big head. What am I talking about? I'm just kidding. No, maybe we'll get a chance. If this doesn't go too long today, maybe we'll call Vaughan. But hey, let's go straight to the phone lines, the who'syourdriver.org phone lines, and talk to our first guest. I guess I can call him friend. I've known him for a long time. Used to work for him many moons ago as an announcer for the then Taco Bell 300. Of course, he is the president of Martinsville Speedway. He is one hell of a race car driver. I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
He is a hell of a pilot as well.
I did not know that. And
in fact, he is. He's got a pilot's license for different kinds of airplanes. But we don't even talk about that. Started working in Martinsville in 1978 for his grandfather, Clay Earls. He is none other than the president of Martinsville Speedway, Clay Campbell. How you doing, Clay?
Hey, Dave, I'm doing great. Good to be with you and Brandon. I appreciate the opportunity, and I just sitting back enjoying the intro there. That was pretty good. I didn't even know some of that stuff myself.
Yeah, he played
a great driver part.
He played you up pretty well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, checks in the mail, okay?
Oh, hey, when's the last time you were in a race car?
Last time I was in a race car, probably it's been at least 4 or 5 years. At I guess Talladega was my last one.
Well,
the last 2 years of my whatever kind of career you want to call it, driving, I drove for Schrader. I drove for Ken Schrader and the ARCA. So just Daytona and Talladega. That's the only 2 races we did. So that was my last 2 years.
Well, obviously with your current position, in overseeing the Mid-Atlantic tracks, which would be Richmond, Martinsville, and Darlington. I think you have quite a bit to do anyway.
Yeah, I got a full plate, and I always knew which side of the fence I belonged on, and that's the side I'm going to stick to right now.
All right. This is a pretty obviously, with all this COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of different changes, a lot of different ways of doing things. Man, to have a race with no fans, it just doesn't seem like Martinsville, but it is Martinsville.
Yeah, and we're really looking forward to it. It's the first night race at Martinsville for the Cup Series. We've ended our Cup races at night under the lights, and that's pretty special. But to start from the beginning, the whole race under the lights, it's going to be pretty cool. It's unusual not having our fans here. I really wish they could be, but they'll get to see it on Fox Sports 1, and I'm sure they're going to like what they see, and hopefully have them back here next year when we're, back to normal. But it should be a really good race. I think NASCAR has hit on something with the low downforce package for short tracks. Excited about that. So that's going to be good for here. Going to be good for Richmond when we come back there in the fall. So I think they really made great strides in getting the racing back on the short tracks the way it's supposed to be.
Well, I think they've made big strides in getting racing back during this pandemic to really pull the trigger. I mean, I was intrigued by, I know Brandon here, he handles the esports here at Richmond Raceway. So I know he's into all that stuff, but it was interesting to watch the live broadcast of these, esports races and how it affected. It looks like it's brought a few new fans back to NASCAR, or to NASCAR, as I say, because this younger generation, I think, might have got a little excited about it.
Well, I think you're right, Dave. And, Brandon's done a great job with esports at Richmond. And, we were fortunately the only sport that could be relevant during that time. I mean, you could turn on and watch a golf tournament from 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that, or, baseball or football. But we were the only ones that was relevant and current. And I think fans really got into it. I did. I mean, it was pretty neat to see the competitors, and yet that's what they are. They're competitors. I don't care if they're racing wheelbarrows, doing esports or the real deal. They want to beat the other guy, and they were very competitive. And I think it brought our sport to another set of eyeballs. You mentioned it being the younger generation, and I thought it was really great that we could stay in the public eye during the time when everything else was down. And if it brought some more viewers to the sport and get them interested, hey, we watched it. We do the iRacing. It'd be nice to go see this in person. And I think that's what we accomplished, and that's just great for all of it.
Yeah. Not only did you possibly attract new fans, but brought some history back into the sport with Wilkesboro coming back and them racing there. Because you obviously were around when they raced in that time period during '87. How cool was it to see that track back as it was, even if it was in the virtual world?
Yeah, it was pretty cool because I was there quite a bit back in the day when Wilkesboro was running, and everything looked like it did back in the day. So it brought back fond memories, and I think it was neat to touch a piece of our history that has brought us to where we are now, and watch a race at Wilkesboro, even though it was virtual. I think that was really good. But all in all, I think it was phenomenal to be able to do something like that, and it's so real. It amazes me how they're able to capture what you would see at the facilities in the virtual world like that. Kudos to iRacing, thanks to Fox and for doing it in NASCAR, for everybody being a part of that to bring that to life. I thought it was really outstanding.
Speaking of kind of hitting on something, do you feel like NASCAR's hit on something with this midweek racing?
I don't know. The jury's out on that. Let's put it this way: it's easier to do it now with no fans. Obviously, I'm not saying it's easy, but you take that out of the equation, and the competitors, they're ready to run whatever day, whatever night, whatever week you want to run. and they're there and they do it. Obviously with the crowds that we bring in, the amount of people that it takes to staff these events, it's thousands of people that it will take to staff up a normal event. So if you take that in consideration, being a midweek race, it's not as easy, obviously, as doing it on a weekend. Beyond that, I think one thing we've got to keep in mind is the fans that like to come and camp at our facilities and make a several day trip out of it. I know we're big into the camping scene here. Richmond, I know they bring in a lot of people for camping. So that's something we've got to be cautious of and not take away from the total experience. The race is just one part of it. Obviously, that's what attracts our fans. It's the race. That's primary. But there's so many things that are a part of that experience that, we got to figure out if that really works. And, I don't know. I said originally that I was one of the first to raise my hand when we're talking about doing these makeup races. Yeah, I'd like to try it midweek. Number one, I like to see what the ratings are, to see how we do on television, how many eyeballs we get. So that'll be interesting to see that part of it. But like I say, we're just dealing with the competitive side of it when we're doing it on Wednesday for this race. So a lot of things to consider. If it works, hey, that's great. That gives us more opportunities and, a longer runway to get these things done. But we'll see.
And the reason why I asked that is because NASCAR has always looked at new ways on how to shorten the season a little bit and get out of the college football, the logjam for sports at that time of the year. And obviously this is a way that in the future, maybe, I don't know, maybe it could help.
Yeah, and like I say, that's great if it does. I just don't know, and I think as we go forward and try these things, sometimes you don't know until you try it. But it would help to possibly shorten the season, maybe take us to places that we wanted to go that maybe we couldn't have in the past. So there are a lot of positives to it, and I think we just got to be prudent on how we do it and make sure it's the right thing going forward. But we'll see what it's like Wednesday here with no fans, and like I say, it's certainly a possibility going forward. And I know NASCAR is looking at every possible scenario, every possible opportunity that we can make the season the best for not only the competitors but for the fans that follow our sport, for the broadcasters that cover it, and they're pretty sharp when it comes to that. Let's give them all the credit in the world for what they've done to get us back on track now during this pandemic. I mean, you can argue with other sports, whether it be whatever, on who was the first to come back. I don't think that really matters. The fact of the matter is we're back. We're running these races. We're getting them on TV, staying relevant, and that's important. And there were a lot of good people that were involved in making that happen. A lot of burning the candle at both ends to make it all work. And my hats off to NASCAR and everybody involved to get us to this point. And I think everybody's really happy to see the real thing back on TV again.
And speaking to that, I mean, since it's been back, the action has been really, really good on track with a lot of different storylines. You had Chase Briscoe winning the Xfinity Series race at Darlington, Chase Elliott with the bounty at Charlotte, and then of course the short track action at Bristol this past weekend. All of that leading into a Martinsville race that has always had really, really good action. That's got to be pretty exciting for you, right?
It really is. I mean, you said it, Brandon. The races so far have been really good. So that gives us encouragement for the Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief 500 that you're going to see great short track racing, especially what you saw at Bristol with the action that they had there. And again, I go back to the package that NASCAR brought back for the short tracks. I think that worked. But the racing has always been pretty good here. Last year, I think If I remember correctly, a couple of guys led most of the laps for both of them. So I don't think you're going to see that again this year. Chase probably had a good shot at winning Bristol and didn't. He finished second here last spring with Kyle Busch and Blaney, Hamlin, the regular cast of characters that always run well here. So I think you're going to see those and maybe even some guys that haven't been to Victory Lane have a shot at running well when they get to Martinsville.
The way that they're setting the lineups, man, it is really shaken up the racing, I think. I think that's what's helped elevate the racing that we are having is, you go in, there's really no practice. You just go race. It's kind of old school. I say that, but even short tracks do a little bit of practice. But, the way they have gotten these in has just been, I think, on point, innovative. I think it's switched things up. It's made drivers drive a little different. It's given more drivers a chance to, I think, get in there and have a chance to win.
I think you're right, Dave, and I think the way they line the races up that's pretty neat. But I think you really got to admire these guys and doing the little driving that I have done. I can't imagine going into a cup race with no practice, barreling off in a corner at 150, 160 miles an hour for the very first time with 39 of your best friends all there with you. I mean, you really got to give them credit, but and I don't advocate going forward not having practice. Maybe we don't need to have as much as we've been having, but I think where it really comes into play having practice, and I don't remember which team or driver I'm actually thinking about, but at least when you have practice, you get to find out if something's not right with the car.
Right.
I think the drivers have proven they don't need it. They're good to go. Give them a lap, and we're back to normal, like riding a bike. But I think you do find things that may pop up in the car. Oh, if I'd had that practice, this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be out. Yeah. So I think that's a key. But the competitors, they're good at it, going right at it when the green flag drops.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, the ballast falling out.
Exactly.
They just, normally that would have happened during a practice session or going out to a practice session.
Yep, you're right.
So, but I'm really extremely excited about the June 10th, the Martinsville date. I guess we ask you one more question because I know you're busy, but it's been a long process and probably a pretty tough process. You are obviously on the inside of this, of having to work with governors, work with the states, work with the federal government to get these races on. First of all, congratulations on everything that you've been able to put forth, and hopefully maybe having the Martinsville race on. I know it's no fans, but maybe that will spur on being able to get our local short tracks back in action because as we all know, and as you know, trying to run a short track and make money or break even without fans and concessions is a pretty tough job.
Yeah, it is. And, like I said, there are a lot of people that had a lot to do with us getting back on track, coming up with the protocols and working with our state, local, federal government people to make it happen. And, the key thing is to do it safely. And that's what we've accomplished. And we've proven that they have come up with stuff to do that. Your point on short tracks, I hope the day is coming soon when the short tracks can get back at it because that's really our lifeblood. That's what attracts people to cup racing, the grassroots racing. We've got to have it. I mean that's where everything starts. That's where our fan base starts. That's where our competitors start. Whether it be the driver, whether it be the crews or whatever. That's the footing for everything that we build upon. So I'm looking forward to hopefully soon getting this thing turned around where they can get back at it and we can all get back to enjoying what we love, and that's the sport of racing.
Well, again, we can't thank you for taking, I know we told you 10 minutes and now it's been almost 20, so.
I enjoyed talking.
But
great.
this is the kind of the new formatted Racing Virginia podcast, and we're doing it here at Richmond. It's the first time I've ever done a show with a face mask on. But I'll forever remember this. You were the first guest we had when we came back and kind of rebooted this. In fact, we got some really cool things coming out. It's actually going to end up becoming a video podcast as well. So we've got some really cool stuff coming, and we can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us. And we can't wait for June 10th, man.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it, and I appreciate it, Dave. Brandon, thanks for having me on. I enjoyed talking with you, and like I say, we look forward to, unfortunately we won't have fans for the 10th, but hopefully that won't be much longer before all these tracks get fans back into our facilities. Can't wait till the fall when we get back to Richmond Raceway for the races there and here in the fall too. So we got a lot of good things to look forward to, and fortunately we're back on track now, but we want to get back like we used to be, and I think that's coming.
Well, maybe we're going to have to also make a road trip and bring the podcast to do it live at Martinsville here shortly.
Yeah, thanks for everything you guys do with that. That's pretty cool. We appreciate it.
Folks, he is Clay Campbell, president of Martinsville Speedway. June 10th, Fox Sports 1. Do not miss it. It's a Wednesday night under the lights. You're going to want to make sure you see this. Again, thanks again, Clay, and we look forward to talking to you.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, bud.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Man, I'm going to tell you what, Clay is he's a class act for one, has always been the same, and I've known him for a long time. And, we're talking 1980s when I worked there. so we're talking a long, long time, and a great guy, and we just gotta keep pushing forward. I mean, this is one of a kind thing.
Yeah, it's we are living in a time that will be highlighted very prominently in the history books right now.
We're going to have, of course, Xfinity Series driver Brandon Brown he's from Woodbridge, Virginia. Going to be on. Well, I would tell you what, he's having a hell of a season.
Oh yeah, man. It's his name,
Oh, come on now. Because we're looking. 12th in points.
Yep.
Finished 8th at Charlotte on Memorial Day. He is having one hell of a season.
Yeah, he really is, and that's not for having. He had a little bad luck, say at the first couple races of the season, and he's still doing that with his own family team.
And this is where I'm talking about that we are seeing more and more folks get into the mix of being competitive, and it's not only in the Cup Series; it's in the Xfinity Series as well.
Yeah. And seeing that, that diverse top 10, you see new names in the top 10 is always something that I really like to see. Even on the Cup side, when you have rookies that are running in the top 10, like John Hunter Nemechek, like Christopher Bell.
Christopher Bell is doing very well in that 95.
Yep, yeah, and he was up in the top 5 up until those final few cautions that kind of relegated him a little bit. But, that's kind of what you expected with a low downforce, higher horsepower at the short tracks. That Christopher Bell is the type that will do that. So it's just nice to see new guys up at the top of the leaderboard, and hoping to see Brandon Brown, who we're about ready to talk to, climb up even further, start getting some top 10s, top 5s, and you never know, could be challenging for a win.
And he races tonight.
We're gonna edit this and get this out before this race starts. So it's gonna be really cool to hear him talk about Bristol, which is a lot of the times a great equalizer track. You're not relying so much on your the aero of the car, it's a lot in the driver's hands more so than say a Fontana or a Kansas or places like that.
Well, let's ringy-dingy him up on the cell phone.
We can do that.
How about that? Let's just push go.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
That dog. Folks, as we told you, here on the Racing Virginia podcast. We just throwing all kinds of stuff at you. It's episode 68. So who else should we have on the show for episode 68? Brandon Brown.
Driver 68.
Who is also, this is going to get very confusing. Of course, he's been on the show several times. He's out of Woodbridge, Virginia. He's the driver and marketing director. He has two jobs over at Brandon Built Motorsports. He is the driver of the number 68 Mid-Atlantic Wrecker Service, Jabs Construction Incorporated, Coastal Carolina University Chevrolet Camaro on the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and will be racing tonight at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, in the Cheddar's 300. How you like that?
You got all of that in there.
I did. Women finished 8th Memorial Day at Charlotte, and he is currently, as we said earlier, 12th in Xfinity Series points. He is Brandon Brown. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing well. How are you?
First of all, how does it feel to be on an it's just me, Dave C., but my new co-host, Brandon, how does it feel to be on a show where you're going to be interviewed by the guy with the same name as you?
Yeah, it is pretty wild. It was funny when we first kind of pointed it out on Twitter. It was a lot of fun, though. And then finding out that he worked at Richmond, I was like, wow, it's a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Especially when he does a little e-racing, and then he does crappy. And then people think it's you.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Every single time I wreck, they think that I'm you, and I'm probably giving you a bad reputation on iRacing. So I sincerely apologize.
Oh, see, that's perfect, because every time I wreck, I just tell the people that I work at Richmond Raceway.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Man, thanks for coming back on the show. We couldn't think of, obviously, episode 68, we had to have you on, And, of course, you're a busy day, I know. A little bit different because normally you'd be getting ready might even be practicing right now.
In the car, practicing, qualifying, doing whatever for a race at Bristol.
So, but you race tonight at Bristol. First of all, Bristol, just knowing you're going to be racing, got to be excited.
Oh, so excited! I love short track racing, so this is big for us, and hopefully, like my worst track on the schedule is Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we had one of our strongest runs there, so I'm excited to see what kind of momentum that'll bring to the short track program. And we're bringing back the same car that we ran there last year. It ran really strong, I think, with everything that we learned over the course of last year that we're able to apply this year. We can only do better unless something bad happens. But no, I'm excited. I've got my veteran crew chief Doug Randolph leading the team. And we're looking forward to a strong night.
Speaking of bad stuff happening, I'm sure you saw the Cup race yesterday, and they were verging on a record for cautions and all the stuff that went with that. So what do you have to do to avoid all of that and maybe get some luck and run really well like you have been all year?
Oh, man. Yeah, I've been digging around trying to find that golden horseshoe wherever it was in Charlotte. But we, it's all, the whole thing is just trying to keep the nose clean on the car. Especially at Bristol, where it's going to be such a tight racetrack. It's, going to be racing on your toes the entire time. I know everybody jokes about it when they say, remember to breathe while you're out there, but it's a real thing. So I'm happy that we're running at night when it's not as hot, but it's going to be, my spotter Brandon Lyons is going to have to be on his toes, and I'm going to have to be on mine and just ready to react in the best way possible, and just hope that when people wreck, they hold the brakes.
Yeah, and you saw some of that. Even like Blaney did. Blaney held the brakes, but he still got run over early in the race yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So. Speaking of, avoiding wrecks, doing that stuff, the wreck that involved a bunch of different cars at Charlotte, you were right around that. Can you take us through what you saw when all that carnage was going on and getting through it?
Yeah. So, it was just off a restart, after we took the green flag, you could tell everybody's antsy. You know, the race is winding down. You know, it's about to end. Everybody's trying to get everything they can get. You know, they're over hustling their stuff. You know, you got guys on older tires. It was just, you know, you kind of picked up like something's gonna happen. I don't know what. I don't know if it's gonna be enough to cause a wreck or if it's just gonna choke up one of the lines. But you know, I had a feeling something was gonna happen. But in that moment, you know, we were running, I think, side by side with the 11, and I just remember the spotter just telling me they were wrecking high. And one thing that I'm really thankful for with Brandon Lyons is instead of telling me what to do during an accident, he kind of relays just all the information of what's going on, and I can make a decision. So he was telling me that they were wrecking high and, you know, go low, and so I just saw the opportunity and stood in it, you know, try to get by that big cluster of cars. But I had to drive all the way down the apron to try and get by it just to keep from getting hit. And actually the thing that caused the 11 and the 44's involvement was the lifting and then getting back in it. And it's that brief hesitation that really can be killer. And I guess that's the one thing I have learned from the series is whatever you do, you got to commit. Can't go halfway, or else you know, usually the result isn't that good.
Brandon, how difficult has it been? I mean, the year started off Daytona, then you know, and well, we got all the way to Atlanta, and Atlanta got nixed at the last minute because of this COVID-19 pandemic. Went to iRacing after that, and then now back to racing with this modified lineup and procedures for racing that are a little bit different. I mean, you don't get any practice; you just go race. How difficult has it been from a driver's perspective, and also because it's your family team, from a team's perspective, at the transition from racing with fans, iRacing, and then racing with no fans?
Yeah, so I really suck at iRacing, so I wasn't a fan of that time. I'm really bad at that game. I have too many bad habits from the real cars. So all the feeling that I get from my butt, and not my hands.
Yeah. And
so transitioning into iRacing, I was actually really lucky. The guys down there in Richmond at SimSeeds hooked it up with an awesome rig, and you know, I got to use that during iRacing, and that actually helped me a ton. You know, I actually got up to an A license, so we'll take it. But no, I mean, using the SimSeeds rig, it was nice because there was that little bit of feedback that I was looking for, but it came from the wheel, and trying to learn how to adjust off of that, learn where you know, how they simulate the tire wear, how the damage just overall slows down the car. Doesn't affect handling. It just slows the car down overall. It was weird. And, you know, I was trying to learn it the whole time. And, you know, it's frustrating when you go from knowing what you're doing when you're driving to, you know, I'm just getting my butt kicked. But no, I mean, it was a lot of fun to do that. You know, it was good. You know, that was good for the budget on the family team. You know, if we wrap, we just hit reset.
Yeah.
But then getting back to the track, I will say it's been very different. You know, with I mean, I applaud NASCAR for how they are doing it, and you know, the extensive measures that we go through to make sure that everybody's good. Doing your pre-testing before each week, and then when you show up to the track, they do the temperature checks, and you know, making sure that everyone's healthy. So, you know, it's been different going through that process, waiting in that line, instead of, you know, just flashing your little card and buzzing right in. So it's been weird. And then, you know, showing up to Darlington first was, I mean, that to me was wild because I could see across the track and across the infield. It wasn't packed with fans and RVs and camping. And, same thing at Charlotte. It was just, everybody, we got to park inside the track, which was nice, instead of getting kicked to the outside. And, it was, again, just weird coming in and seeing a bunch of empty grass lots and empty seats. And, there's no pre-race, there's no, there's no introductions, nothing like that. So it's a little weird that all that's taken away, but at the same time, I've loved it because, showing up the track like this, it's all about who's going to commit to the first corner and really figure out what their car is doing. Usually in practice you do that with a shakedown run, but this one is, it's who's going to commit. And then luckily NASCAR gave us those competition cautions on 15 and 20, and or lap 15 at Darlington, lap 20 at Charlotte, and it's made it workable. And I have no complaints with how it's running right now. I mean, of course, if I had some different results, I might have had a different opinion. But right now, so far, I've just been enjoying it.
It's Bristol is obviously tonight, and everybody can watch it on FS1, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe, yes, FS1 at 7:00 to be exact, 7 p.m. Or actually, it starts at 6:30. The coverage starts at 6:30, but the race is going to start at 7 p.m. When you look at this season and you look at where you are in the point, you're 12th in points, man. I mean, does that sink in? I mean, that of the quality of season you have started off with?
Yeah, so that's basically been our momentum piece through all the weird changes, through going from, racing hard from Daytona through the West Coast into a standstill. That kind of piece was the motivating factor when we were coming back. And, I think it helped keep the guys' spirits up when we were, during the time where we couldn't go in the shop. And, we still have, once this racing resumes, we have a really good shot at being successful this year. So it's been really nice to have, I haven't really, celebrated it too much just because, we're still fairly early in the season, and, we don't want to get content, and we want to keep pushing forward. But, it is pretty incredible, when you look at the start of this year compared to last year, and how we're able to capitalize on a lot of the changes that have been going on. So it's been exciting, and I'm looking forward to hopefully keeping that positioning. And I wish we'd start lining up the qualifying order off the driver point positioning, not driver owner, because then we might have gotten a little better starting spot for this weekend, because we're starting 21st.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of new guys in front of us, and turn one's going to be interesting tonight.
I was going to say, how tricky is that going to be, kind of navigating through, especially slower, and substantially potentially slower traffic at Bristol is always treacherous, but packing you in there at the start's got to be, you're going to have to be biting your nails there for a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. The big thing comes from, so Bristol is a very demanding track, both on the driver and the car. So with no shakedown, no practice, nothing, the cars, a lot of us have our ride height set fairly well, but there are some cars that don't. And when they go into the corner, if they bottom out and slide up, check everyone up, that's where the accidents come in. And being back in the, in the storm, it's not good for the goal, for our goal, and when we go out there, yes, top 10 is a great goal, but we also want to try and keep the car alive as much as possible. And when you're running up front, there just seems to be a lot more, give and take up there.
Right.
When somebody's faster, they're using smarter moves. It's more strategic. But when you're back there in the 20s or high 15s, 20s, then everybody's just kind of fighting for what they can get, and some moves that aren't ideal can be made. You know, I mean, I've and I'm no, you know, I've made those not smart moves. And when we saw at Phoenix that, you know, overdriving it to turn 3. So now my best friend's starting right in front of me tonight. So I'll just keep my window net up.
Well,
oh man, I was there for that, by the way. That was that was well, not fun to watch on your end, but if you were spectating, that was like, wow, what happened there?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I said too.
You just blamed it on the other Brandon, didn't you?
Yeah. He can just do
That's
that.
the wrong guy, man.
The social media guy.
Oh, Lord. You know, we know you got a lot to get ready before you race tonight, so we can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your schedule, and we look forward to having you back on here shortly because the whole goal and idea behind this podcast has always been promoting the drivers and the racing from the state of Virginia, and people don't realize what quality, not only racing, but we have some really quality drivers racing in the upper levels of NASCAR, and you're one of them. We can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back in the CDN. Hopefully, you know, we can open back some Virginia tracks and, you know, let me race in front of the hometown crowd. And, you know, I'm excited. We got a pretty sweet looking Mid-Atlantic record service, number 68 for tonight. And I'm really excited to run that and or not next week. We just finished up our Talladega car, so it's going to be a pretty awesome looking Larry's Lemonade car.
There we go.
Yeah.
Larry's
I'm
Lemonade, proud sponsor of Richmond Raceway too, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Larry's Hard Lemonade.
They're a proud Racing Virginia supporter. I can tell. They support Richmond Raceway, Virginia drivers, so I'd like to give them a pretty big shout out.
Larry and Vic and
all them.
Larry and Vic and Don and all those guys, man, they're just great guys.
Oh, absolutely. They've been super supportive through everything, and you know, even during the pandemic, you know, at least, you know, I know that, you know, things hit hard on everybody, but still for them to kind of check in and just see how our team is doing and making sure everybody's okay. Nice. But yeah, no, I'm pumped. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I look forward to hopefully getting on after nabbing an elusive win or something.
There we go. There we go. Folks, you can watch him tonight on FS1 starting at 6:30. The race starts at 7. He will be driving the number 68 Mid-Atlantic Wrecker Service, Jabs Construction, Coastal Carolina University Chevrolet Camaro. And hopefully, because it's episode 68, and it's not the Brandon Brown from Richmond Raceway in the cockpit, we'll have a good finish.
That last part definitely has a lot to do with it.
And if you're running Brandon Brown on iRacing, he wrecks you. That's
Oh, folks, thanks so much, Brandon.
All right, thank you.
See ya.
Man, I will tell you what, that he's a cool cat. He really is a cool guy. And I mean, to come on race day, I mean, obviously it's a little bit of a different race day because they really don't have anything they have to do, do today other than until race day.
Yeah.
They just sit around in their hauler until then.
It's it's really interesting the days that they are having, because on race day normally it is for the Xfinity Series, especially here, it's practice qualifying, and then you've got driver appearances, meet and greets, here in Richmond doing the stuff in the fan grounds with the fans. I got to remember to put my mouth up to this microphone, especially with this
with the mask on. Boy, I'm telling you what, and I'm getting a little on the toasty side over there.
Yeah, a little humid in there.
It's a little humid in here, especially with me. I got a lot of hot air coming out when I talk anyway.
Yeah. But it's interesting to because a lot of athletes and drivers, they have their routines every day at the racetrack, and the routine puts them in a mindset to race. And now they don't have that, so they got to do something a little bit different on race day now.
Yes, and but I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of like it.
Yeah,
I really do.
I would too.
I mean, it's shortened up the day. You don't have a whole lot to do. Yes, in your mind, you got to think, maybe I got to drive a little bit calmer at the beginning of the race.
Yep.
Which maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, especially not knowing how your car is going to handle going down into turn one for the first for the first corner at Bristol.
Yeah. We're gonna have a jingle for this soon.
Okay.
All right.
Who's going to sing it?
I'm not gonna sing it, but I'm gonna tell you what. It's gonna have to be kind of cool. It's gonna have to be kind of kiddish-fied sounding.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fine.
But we got a new segment, and we're gonna call it Story Time with Randy. And of course, when we say Randy, that is, of course, the man himself. He does journalism for here. He does it for Richmond Times-Dispatch still, doing just continuing to write columns, weekly columns. And if you haven't visited racingvirginia.com and actually read his columns, you need to do so. A lot of history that he brings up here in the state of Virginia and from NASCAR. Of course, it is now Story Time with Randy. And of course, he is Mr. Randy Hallman. How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good, man. By the way, we're sitting just outside of your deadline room.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, good. I missed so many deadlines in my career. I had a lot of editors laugh when they named it.
Oh, well, man, I'm telling you, it's so interesting to read your columns on the racingvirginia.com website, and we can't thank you for being a part of Racing Virginia, promoting racing here in the state, because people don't realize, and you got many, many years. I mean, you work for the Richmond Times-Dispatch, been covering racing for a lot of years. Virginia is blessed to not only have a lot of different forms of major racing here in the state, but also some really great drivers. And, sometimes I think we as people here in the state of Virginia, we don't realize that.
Well, you're so right. It's Virginia is like no other. I mean, in for one thing, it's got 4 cup races on a normal year, and we're the only ones now. That's the only state now that has 4. And I'm not even counting Bristol, which is just a stone's throw, across the border in Tennessee. Yeah. That's tremendous. And we've got if it works out, we're going to have Indy cars back. We've got NHRA Nationals, and then we've got these incredible the great top level road racing at VIR, and all these incredible short tracks and drag strips and kart tracks and motocross tracks, and it's an incredible menu of racing in Virginia. It's just amazing. It's a great state for race fans.
Coming up June 10th, I know that they've had a race finish under the lights, but this is the first time Martinsville Speedway will start the first lap under the lights, under those LED beautiful lights at Martinsville Speedway. How historic is this?
Well, it's terrific. It puts another race from Virginia in prime time in a beautiful, beautiful part of the state, and a track that is it's like the modern beautiful version of the throwback track. I mean, this is the old school kind of racing. It's a almost flat half mile. You just gotta get in there and fight for every inch, every position throughout the field, and people are gonna get that in prime time. It's great. It's going to open some eyes to Martinsville and to that kind of racing that people that haven't seen it before will see it now. And it's also I don't know, it's because it's on a Wednesday night, it harkens back to the day when they'd have 2 or 3 races in a week. I didn't even have to look very hard to find one stretch where there were 9 9 races or rather 5 Cup races in 9 days, and there were probably other times when there were more than that. So, it kind of brings that back too. When it was a traveling show and it was as quick as you could get there, you'd set up and you'd race again. And I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying the hurry up schedule and the guys getting their car together and beating the dents out of it and go racing again. It's terrific.
So what you say it harkens back to the day for the drivers that have never experienced this and have their own kind of schedules. What do you think that you think it's more difficult, less difficult for them, or does it not matter? They just want to go race.
I think most of them want to go race. I think my guess is, and I'm not there in the motor coach with them.
Yep.
But my guess is, first of all, they've got the motor coach, so that makes it a little easier. My guess is they're adjusting to it easily. Most of them, almost all of them, did, rise through the ranks when they were racing a couple of times a weekend anyway. And I think they're probably having a good time with it. I also think they probably really miss just being able to hang out with the team. NASCAR is being very careful, setting an example for other sports and other businesses of all kinds to try to show the way. I think that if we work hard enough, we're careful enough, we can get this done. We can get some of our enterprises back together and find a way to carry on. And I think they probably miss just the camaraderie of being with the team and hanging out with them and talking about the car more with them and not just on their cell phones. I think they don't like that. But I expect they like getting to race, getting back in the car. Let's go. I also think they probably like the somewhat shorter races that are being patched in to fill the 36 race schedule. I think they probably like the intensity of it. Gosh knows we had a tremendous race at Bristol, and I expect we'll have one at Martinsville. I think it'll be a great race. And I think they like that. I think they like there's no time to relax, no time to settle down and just hold your spot. I think they liked that short track racing that they did when they were running 50 laps, 100 laps, maybe fewer, maybe 25. And every lap meant something, every position, every quarter lap meant something.
And that's kind of what Bristol looked like. And I expect that when they get to Martinsville, in some respect, even more close quarters at Martinsville, especially with that low downforce package, that's going to allow them to get up on each other's bumpers and really do something with it. That you'll see the same thing. Do you agree?
I absolutely agree. Martinsville, I go way back with Martinsville. I grew up in Floyd, which is about 45 miles away, and take the Route 8 down to Stewart, and then hang a left to go to Martinsville, and it was the first Cup track I ever went to. My grandmother, of all people, was a huge racing fan, and she was the one who took me to the races around Southwest Virginia, and Martinsville was like the biggest race of all. And I think the first one I saw, I'm not sure of this, I might have seen one in the 50s, but I think maybe the first one I saw was 61, and Fred Lorenzen won that. It got rained out. Cut short, but it's still the same track. It's a big modern venue now, but the track is the same shape it was then, and it demands a lot of the same skills from the drivers. I love that. I like being there and watching it. My memories go back to those days, and I mean, I had no idea when I was a kid then, and all it was a great race, but it was, Hall of Famers. I mean,
Yeah.
Lorenzen won it, and Fireball Roberts was there, and Jarrett and Curtis Turner, and I saw those guys race. It was incredible.
And I've always been a proponent. I've always thought that NASCAR races, and I understand why they're the length they are because of TV. You need to get a number of commercials in. But I always thought that they could be shortened, and you probably would see better racing. And gosh darn it, guess what? It's almost you're seeing that. The shorter racing, these guys are getting to it right away. They're not, you don't feel like they're riding around for 100, 200 laps just to get to the end.
Yeah, never, not in these somewhat shorter events. Although, I mean, these guys work hard anyway. There's so many good cars now. You can't relax, but so much. But yeah, if you're running 500K instead of 500 miles, you gotta stay up on the wheel a little bit more, and these guys are doing it. I think we're seeing that. It's been fun. This return to racing has been a tremendous amount of fun. I think I've enjoyed it straight through.
Well, what's the next race? Tonight, Xfinity, Bristol.
We
just talked to Brandon Brown, the other Brandon Brown.
Not me, Brandon Brown.
The Xfinity racing has been just great as well.
Yes, it has. They've just, they're putting on a show. It's been a lot of fun, and I don't know. I think everybody's kind of refreshed and ready, and they want to go. I'm also looking forward to sort of Martinsville and the other places. I'm looking forward to watching what Jimmy Johnson's how he's gonna finish out his career as a regular anyway. He's certainly showing, signs of being able to win one. It's been more than 100 races now, and most of the time he hasn't been a contender. But since we've come back,
yeah,
he's putting his car up front. He's up there. They've got the thing going. Chevrolet's having a little bit better year. He's having a good year. He and crew chief seem to really hit the chemistry combo that they need. I expect him to win. I really do. I think he'll notch at least one more in his farewell tour, and so that's going to be fun. And Martinsville, I mean, there's only two guys who've won double-digit number of races there, Cup races. That's Petty and Walter. Yep. And Jimmy has 9, and he and Jeff Gordon have 9, and I think Jimmy would love nothing more than to make Jeff call that race.
Yeah. He brings back memories because when Jimmy Johnson first got into circle track racing, coming from off-road racing, I got to do, he was in the Bill Meyer number 81, I think it was, 61 or 81. Out of North Carolina, and was fortunate enough back then when I was doing an asphalt radio show to be able to interview him, and we was actually in person at Myrtle Beach Speedway at the time, and he goes, yeah, I'm signed by Chevrolet, GM Performance Chevrolet, and I said, you're kidding me. He reached in his back pocket and pulled out his wallet, and he goes, see. And he had a credit card that they had given him. I was like, okay, they want you to be a Chevrolet driver. That is faux sure. But I mean, he's just been such a great person. And I'm not just saying driver, but he is a great person, and has always been very forthcoming, and whenever you needed an interview, typically he would do it.
Yeah, Jimmy's just been really great for the sport. It's kind of funny in a way. He's seen as sort of I think his reputation is as being too bland,
Yeah.
too not enough fire or whatever. But I think he's got plenty of fire. It's white hot, but he keeps it all inside, and he channels that into his racing. He's been just a model citizen, and you can call that bland if you want to, but he's never embarrassed the sport. He drives hard. He comports himself well, and he's been a good ambassador for stock car racing. And I mean, you just can't ask more. He's been a great champion.
Well, we're really looking forward. Both me and Brandon are looking forward to this segment each and every week. We're gonna tighten it up a little bit and get you to tell some stories like you have been. That's why we're calling it Story Time with Randy.
I think I know the first official story I want is that 1961 race and what he experienced as a little kid, because my first race as a little kid was right here at Richmond Raceway. So
that's cool.
Still my favorite day that I've ever existed on this earth. So.
But
I can tell you that one, and I've got some races that go back further than that. And I'll tell you about those sometime. All right, buddy.
All right. Well, we can't thank you enough, Randy. We look forward to having you on the podcast each week and hearing some of these stories.
Great. I look forward to it. It's a lot of fun, guys. Thanks.
Thanks,
folks. Story Time with Randy has come to a close. But I'll tell you, that's going to be fun. It really is. It is going to be fun.
I think we need to get its own logo.
Yep.
You know.
Mm-hmm. We got to do something. Yeah. But we're going to keep. I'm sure as long as he's been covering NASCAR and just as a fan, I'm sure it goes way, way back. As we talked to earlier, we have a good friend of mine, and one hell of a race car driver. He is the 2018 Fast Track World champion at Virginia Motor Speedway. Took him a while to get those first wins there, but that was a big one. But not only has he excelled in the pro/crate late model division, he is now excelling in super late model this year. Late last year and into this year, he kind of put a super late model in the stable, and he went out this past weekend and won his first ever super late model race. It was a $5,000 to win event at Tyler County Speedway in West Virginia. Of course, he is from Dooms, Virginia, the driver of the number 17. They call him Thug Nasty. Logan Roberson. What's up, Thuggy?
Oh, shoot, man. Living life.
Congratulations. As I talked to you earlier, you said you haven't even got to all your text messages from people congratulating you.
Oh, man, it's been crazy. I didn't realize how many people, watched my stuff and stood behind me. I'm still, this is a couple of days later, and I still haven't went through all my text messages, Facebook, none of that. It's been crazy.
It's been a really weird year. I mean, let's be honest. Before everything really got super started in short track racing, we had this, obviously, this COVID-19 pandemic. What has it been like for a Virginia short track driver to have to hold off in racing in his own state?
It honestly, it's kind of tough because, we come down to Virginia Motor some, and then I race at usually Winchester a bunch, and they're in the state of Virginia. Really it just had to change, and, it's just like whenever I leave my house, I've got to travel more than 4 hours immediately. And so, as soon as I pull out of the driveway, I know that, me and my dad, we have to travel at least 4 hours every time we pull out of the driveway. So it makes it kind of tough, but luckily there's some states open that we can still get some racing in because, man, it would drive me insane if I couldn't go racing.
For you, you've had to kind of switch up a little bit of pro late model, crate racing, and now you've added the super late model. Do you feel like you're heading one way or another?
Me and my dad actually just talked about that the other day. He's like, well, we always talk about where I want to be at, and of course, my dream would be, race cars for a living on a series, and we talked about it, I can't quit fully racing crates because obviously that usually funds my super racing where I can do more. And I think I'm headed in somewhat of a direction. I usually don't try to think highly of myself because I know that I can always do better.
You went to Tyler County in the Super. I don't know. That was kind of a last minute deal, I think. What was it like? What did it feel like to hang on? Because it was a hell of a race. I think it was you and Max Blair out of Pennsylvania that went down to the final few laps. For you, what was that like, and what was it like to get that first super late model win?
Honestly, it just feels like, all them late nights you stay up till, heck, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes me and my dad don't even go to sleep. Like the other week, we come home from 411 and we didn't even sleep. We went straight to work as soon as we got home. And it's just like, you combine all them nights together and, all the blood, sweat, tears, everything. It seemed like it all paid off Thursday night, and I'm ready to go again, and it gives you a boost of confidence, because when you're racing them super guys, I think you know as well as I do, man, not one of them's no slouch, and I've constantly got beat up forever racing with them guys, but I think it's made me a better racer, and it felt like all my hard work paid off, and I don't know, it felt like it was my night, Thursday. It felt like I couldn't do no wrong.
I just looked at your schedule. Yeah, there's not a whole lot on your schedule for June.
I planned out my schedule until I think it was June.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm gonna reconfigure once we get to that point. And with life being as busy as it is, we just taking it 1 week at a time with these races.
Yeah. Find something that's within a 4 or 5 hour drive at least. Yeah,
something that makes some sense, and I do know that I'm going to Smoky Mountain the 13th, I think, for the Lucas Oil.
When you start stepping into the World Outlaws and Lucas Oil stuff, man, that gets even tougher.
Oh, yeah, them guys are no slouch, and that's like I was telling, I guess, Turn 5 Turnaround the other day when I was in an interview with them. I told them, I said, these guys, you have to be on your A game. You've got to have all your tires that you would ever need, and you'd also got to have some luck to be able to win some of these races. Because it's not like it's just one guy that can go out there and win. You got 15, 20 guys that can win every single night.
It's been weird because they've been racing. I don't know what's going to happen to Smoky Mountain. I think they're going to be able to have at least a little bit of fans, but they've been racing without fans. This has just been a weird year. I know Tyler County for the first time was able to have 50% capacity in the grandstands, and they had a great turnout in cars. I think short track drivers are itching to get to racing, and I think short track fans, and at least at the beginning, are excited to get back to the racetrack.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And one of the main part is just getting the fans back in the stands. Because like none of us guys, we don't race for ourselves. We might race for our ego or whatever you call it to make ourselves feel good, but mainly it's for the fans. You pull out there and you see a very empty grandstand, and you think about it, and you're like, man, why are we here?
Yeah.
Obviously, I know it's to make some money, but why are we here doing this with ain't nobody in the stands? And it's just, I don't really like that feeling, but I guess right now we have to take what we can get and make the best out of it, and just, I don't think the fans realize how much they mean to us, honestly.
Well, the nice thing about the short track racing stuff, I know NASCAR and that's when you have national TV, but at least with the short track stuff, at least on the dirt side, well, no, I take that back, on the asphalt side too. Speed 51 has been doing some pay-per-views, but Flow Racing / Dirt on Dirt has been doing a ton of it for the dirt side, and to be honest with you, there's probably 5, 6, 7 different streaming services on the short track side that I think has been doing a great job at keeping the fans entertained, and also helping keep some of these tracks and racing even with no fans, because at least they have some income coming in.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like Rigsby texted me yesterday from Dirt on Dirt and was just asking about, my win and stuff like that. And I tell you, like, them guys make it it feels like, on them Thursday night races, everybody focuses on them, and like, because there's nothing else really going on, and it's pretty cool to see everybody, the community come together and order them races and watch them live, because that's, at the end of the day, I think that's how we get paid.
Well, for you though, what is it like to have your name mentioned now all the time? Because I was watching Lucas Oil late models from East Bay. You weren't there, but they were talking about Thug Nasty.
In all honesty, I don't ever try to think of myself as anybody. I just try to, I'm just a little fish, big pond, and I don't know. I've tried to get out and race them guys. I try to race as much as I can, because eventually that's where I'd like to end up. But it's pretty cool. I've met a lot of people on this journey, ever since I stepped out and started running supers. Because like I told my dad, I said, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I told him, I said, I've set goals for myself, and I won't quit until I can win a Lucas race or a World Outlaws race. And that's my plans. I just got to keep on it and keep digging, and just try to keep getting better, because I think we're getting there. It's just we're getting close, but I just got to get a little bit better.
And how satisfying will it be, once we do get back to normal, because that will happen sooner or later, to do that in front of, say, a capacity crowd, and see that fan reaction as we get back to normal.
Oh man, it'd be pretty awesome. That's what I was saying before. People don't realize how much fans mean. When you look up there, I've been to, 4 or 5 racetracks with no fans. And it honestly, it sucks. Like, you see an empty grandstand, and then you just think about it, and you're like, well, why would I want to pull off this nice slider for this or that, or why would I want to do this when there ain't nobody watching? Of course, you got pay-per-view, but you forget about it.
Yeah.
And because you're in the zone, you're just racing. And it just, once you get the fans back in it, people buying T-shirts at the track, and it's just the atmosphere of a dirt late model facility is insane. Like, people don't get it. You know what I'm saying? We're all a big one family, and it just feels like you're at home when you're, all the fans are there, your friends, like everything's normal. It feels like home.
Well, we can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us. And congratulations on that first super win. You're used to winning, but it's been mostly in the crate side of the stuff, and I really foresee the same kind of success coming on the super late model side. I really do.
I hope you're right on that. I've me and my dad, man, we've worked really hard for it, and I just got to keep digging and getting better, and hopefully it'll pay off. But thank y'all for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Well, folks, you can follow Logan, Thug Nasty as they call him. You can buy some of his apparel at LoganRoberson.com. That's ROBERSON, by the way, folks. Of course, he is the driver of the number 17 Gunners Honey BTS, Bobby's Towing Service, by the way. RBS Auto Trailer Sales, Windbridge Incorporated, Dirt Defender, Volunteer Speedway. Hold on, Virginia Motor Speedway. Only guy that I know is sponsored by 2 tracks. Three. Oh, wait, who's the other one?
Smoky Mountain Speedway.
Smoky Mountain Speedway. Oh, heck. 3 tracks.
3 tracks.
Roger Seller.
And he is obviously a Rocket XR1 driver. But you can go to his website, LoganRoberson.com. You should have got ThugNasty.com,
Should we visit that right now?
No, I'm scared. I'm scared to visit that.
Yeah.
Logan, thanks so much for taking some time out of your schedule, bud.
All right, thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Man, he is such a good kid. He really is. And we just have so many good racers in the state of Virginia. We really, really do. Speaking of that, we have our next guest is going to be, first of all, he is on Team Racing Virginia. He was in the second class of the Team Racing Virginia. Now, we haven't had a class since, I guess, the second one.
Yeah, I was going to say that predates my existence here.
Before you were here. He's a 19-year-old asphalt late model driver, and he also works for Brandon Butler. Brandon Butler Motorsports, who is also on Mini Tyrells, another team, Racing Virginia driver. He works for him, so not only does he drive, but he also works on the team. And he is the driver, the number 22. Let's see if we can't rock him up here. Of course, he is the driver number 22 late model. He at age 15 became the youngest rookie of the year in the late model division in the Southside Speedway's track history. And he continues to cut his teeth with this division. Went down to Hickory Motor Speedway to get his season started after just doing some testing. Of course, like I said, he works with Brandon Butler over there at Timmy Tyrell's, Mini Tyrell's Cars Tour car. Of course, he is Grayson Cullather. How you doing, Grayson? Hold on. Bluetooth kicked off there. Are you there? Here we go. I knew we got him. See? The Bluetooth.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. How you doing, bud?
Doing pretty good. Just got in my truck and we're working on some tires right now on Minnie's car and just trying to finish up little things to head down the road tomorrow to go test them.
Now he'll be racing at Ace Speedway here soon in the Cars Tour, correct?
Yep, racing Friday night at Ace Cars Tour.
Yep, that's what. Okay, and so when is the next time you get to get in a race car?
There's a very good possibility. We'll be racing next week at Dominion, maybe. We're trying to work out some logistics on trying to make things work. Because the team I run for, Carroll Speed Shop, they got one car going to Hickory. So we're trying to figure out if we could get another car to go to another track with a different crew. So, logistics.
Yeah. Now, I mean, as every short track driver in the state of Virginia has had to do, man, they've had to put off the start of their season. You were able to head down to Hickory Motor Speedway for your first race, but that's a little bit different. Normally, it would have been a race somewhere here in the state of Virginia, either Southside or Dominion.
Yep. We decided to go to Hickory. They had one car going already, and just try to get my feet back in the system of getting back in the car, getting my communication down with my crew chief, Jason Bailey again. I worked with them 2 years ago. I'm back with them now, so just trying to get the communication going right when we go to a track like Dominion and South Boston Langley.
Yeah, you've been able to do some testing, obviously. How has that testing been? And I know Hickory didn't go the way you wanted it to, but you still had a decent finish.
Yeah, Hickory is my devil of a track. I don't like it.
There's a lot of people don't like Hickory.
I think everybody hates it. It's got a ton of history, which is really cool about the place, but I don't like it. Abrasive, rough, but we tested once at Dominion and we tested once at Langley. The test at Dominion went very, very, very good. I've never had a car that good there. I'm excited to go back there and race. Langley, we started out kind of rough, but we're really good there too. And I can't wait to go for the Hampton Heat in July. That's still on schedule.
Yeah.
But I think we'll have two good shots when we go to those two tracks.
Now, what changes have you had to make in your racing because of this pandemic that's been going on?
And there really hasn't been much change on my end. I mean, during the year, we only talked about running 3 to 7 races just to go to quality races instead of doing quantity races.
Right.
And I told Brandon I would be with them for the Cars Tour the whole year, even though I might be bailing on them for the 13th to go to Dominion. Even though they're going to Hickory, which I'm like, I don't like Hickory. So we're going to I'll be ace all week this week helping them out, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to having a good run with Minnie for taking his brand new car, so we'll see what it does.
Now for you, I know the kind of person and the kind of mentor that Brandon Butler is. What is it like for you to be able to work for him and also work on a team like Minnie's and go and doing this car stuff?
Minnie's family is awesome.
his parents are wonderful to work with. Working with Brandon a couple times a week here in the shop is awesome. If I have any questions on what I'm doing on that task, he'll stop what he's doing. He'll teach me, and he's awesome to work with. He's one of the best around, wise and driver wise. And I'm actually trying to convince him to get back in a race car sometime here soon.
Now, for you, what are your goals for this season? I mean, I know it's a weird year, but what are your goals for this season?
Goals for this year, going to Dominion next week. If we go to Dominion next week, I really want to win one of those two twins. I think we got a really good shot with the car that Carroll Speed Shop and Jason Stanley are giving me, Mayor and Billy Banks racing engine. But going on street races, I want to qualify top 20 at Martinsville this year. I don't want to heat race because every time I heat race at Martinsville, it's always excitement. I've never been in a heat race that's calm. And
that's Martinsville for you.
Yeah.
all 3 years, I've had some sort of excitement. I'm trying to take the race, which I've had every year, but it hasn't been easy.
Well, folks, you can follow Grayson on Facebook at Grayson Cullather. And of course, he is the driver of the number 22 late model, and of course, he is still a member of Team Racing Virginia. So we got to keep up with you up on a regular basis.
Once a member of Team Racing Virginia.
Always a member.
Always a member.
Yep.
So we want to thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to visit with us and kind of let us in on how you, as a local short track driver, is coping with this pandemic. And we look forward to maybe even talking to you after Dominion and when you pick up that win.
Yes, sir. I hope I get one or two or both.
Yeah, don't be greedy now. Come on now.
Oh, I'm not. That's my jam there.
There you go. Nice. Folks, he is Grayson Cullather. Of course, he is the driver of the number 22 late model, 2015 Southside Speedway Rookie of the Year. I do believe that's what it right. But you can see him on a racetrack near you here shortly. I'm going to tell you what, he's a good kid. He really is a good kid. Talking about a good family, too. He's got a really good family. And he's an up-and-comer.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I want to do more with this show is to highlight some of the guys that haven't gotten a whole lot of press in the state of Virginia, but are still, great little drivers, and try to get them a following, Mm-hmm. Grayson's going to maybe go to Dominion next week, and if he doesn't bag on Minnie in the Cars Tour,
a lot of options.
Yeah, a lot of options. So, a lot of great talent in the state, and you know who I think we need to call, Brandon.
Who do we need to call?
Just off the cuff.
Yeah,
you just need to call the Vaughan Crittenden.
Who's that? Who's that again?
Don't you think we should call Vaughan? Huh?
You didn't answer. Who is that again?
Oh, my former co-host.
Former co-host. I think he's
doing some. And didn't he work here?
That's right. The guy shared a wall with him.
Yeah, you shared shared a door with him.
Yeah, shared a door with him. We were basically like dorm buddies at the office.
And of course, what a year to take over as promoter of Langley Speedway. Boy, as soon as he gets the job, he takes the job, man, the pandemic kicks in.
You think there's a correlation or causation between the two at all?
I don't know, but let's give him a call. Let's see what's happening. Let's check in on Vaughan.
Yeah.
We need to make a segment.
What's up, guys?
Let's make it a segment. Check in with Vaughan.
Check in with Vaughan. It's like a doctor's
podcast.
I know the podcast that you helped start.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It is. What's up, guys?
Well, the thing is, it started out, it was me and Chuck Hall, who's at Langley Speedway.
Uh-huh.
And then he takes over for Chuck on the podcast. Well, guess what he's doing? He's taking over for Chuck Hall as promoter of Langley at Langley Speedway. Dude, I feel so sorry for you because now, soon as you leave Richmond, okay, to take that job, the COVID-19 pandemic kicks in. That can't be. That's the worst timing ever in the history of timing.
I mean, the good news is that I was able to get one event in. We had our day of destruction beginning of March, which was like right on the edge of everything happening.
That's true.
We had a race.
Yep.
If there had been a race scheduled for the next weekend, it probably wouldn't have happened. It was kind of right on that. And, this definitely isn't the
Day of Destruction.
The way you want to start being a promoter.
Right? Day of Destruction, a nice metaphor for, like, like when the pandemic kicked in. It's like, oh, okay, everything just went crazy. But, no, how you doing? With, they're slowly opening the state back up. Potential for, I think you guys had a test there.
They do
just recently.
They allow testing.
Yeah.
So I mean, he has been working a little bit.
He has been.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. No, we're able to have cars come to the track right now. Normally we'll probably have maybe like 2 or 3 a day. So a little bit of activity. The track is rubbered up. I guess you could say that at least. It's got a little black groove set into it. Yeah, that's kind of really just been it.
That is, Vaughn, that is a lie because I'm looking right here at the vault. Langley Speedway's new video library, so that's definitely not it.
He's been busy.
He's been very busy.
Well, I've been busy. Yeah, no, I've had a lot of projects I want to work on, but when it comes to on-track activity, that's
which the COVID-19, the pandemic actually helped.
Yeah, I guess you could. I guess if there's a silver lining to grab,
because let's be honest, if you were having to promote races every week, the vault would have had to take a back seat for a little while.
That was something I kind of honestly had really stumbled on. We were doing some spring cleaning around here and found a
bunch of DVDs
of DVDs from previous races. And I was like, "Whoa! I guess I could start trying to do this."
So for anybody who doesn't know what that is, what is because you just unveiled it really recently. What is the vault?
Yeah, so the vault is a collection of currently over 300 races from Langley Speedway's past. Right now it's from 2010 to 2015, and right now I'm working on doing the rest of the converting for 2008 and 2009. So you can go back online and watch your favorite races, basically really through like the past decade or more, because we also have our past 3 years still available on demand as well.
Very cool. And in a time like this this is perfect content, perfect thing to consume for people who are itching to watch any type of racing.
It's the same thing. Obviously I haven't done it for. Well, I'll be able to transfer, but I've been re-editing stuff for Facebook just to keep the fans engaged. Yeah. And this is a perfect way for Langley to keep the fans engaged and highlight some races on their social media. Of course, you know how to do that, don't you, Vaughn?
I do know how to do that.
I know you know. How difficult? Tell the people how because this is not easy project. This is a time-consuming project.
It is a hugely consuming project. It started off. You guys almost think about how DVDs have evolved over the last decade or so.
Yeah.
The space that you could get on a DVD is a lot more now, say, than it was in 2009. So when I would go to convert a race night from 2015. It's one DVD. I put it in. It goes through the process, and it spits out 6 races. 2008, 2009, it's usually about one race on a DVD, maybe not even the full race.
Yeah.
And then you got to go back in and do that process a lot more. So 6 DVDs gets you one race night for 2008 versus one for 2015. So it takes a long time that way.
Yeah, and it's a great. You did a great job, folks. Go to Langley-Speedway.com. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
/the vault.
/the vault. to check it all out. A lot of old school stuff, and I know you're looking for other older races. So I mean,
Yeah, I guess probably what I'll work on next off season will be really trying to get my hands on some really old stuff. I know some people out there have some
VHS.
races, so that'll be the next step in this. It'll keep growing.
See, the VHS to digital is not an easy process because you literally have to hit the play button and let it go by itself for hours until it finishes.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, it's like pulling your nails off with tweezers.
That'll even take longer, yeah. That'll be a lot.
Hey, you were in the same position as we are at Virginia Motor Speedway and all the other short tracks in the state, having to kind of I mean, you guys being an asphalt track, it's been a little, you've been able to allow testing because it's a little easier to accomplish than it is on a dirt track. But how difficult of a start to the season has this been for you as a promoter?
Well, I mean, a big thing what you always try to do, especially in the month leading up to the start of the season, is really trying to build momentum of a new season starting.
Yeah.
Everyone's got that fresh start. Everyone's got a chance. Everyone's kind of, cooped up from winter, and, you're starting to feel that warm breeze again. The sun's out a little bit longer each day. You really try to just kind of build on the routine, for so many people here, opening day has been a March, April thing for decades, for generations. So you really want to play off people's kind of habits and rhythms and really take that momentum and use it to roll through your whole season. You kick it off at the beginning, and then you have, your special events sprinkled in along with your weekly shows. You just want to get people in the habit and the rhythm of coming to the racetrack on the weekend. And when you end up having to play this waiting game where you don't know what you're waiting till, it's really tough. And I'm sure the way it'll work is once we do get the green light, it's going to be very quickly opening night. It's not going to be this, I know, opening day 2 and 3 months out, and I can make my planning for it. It's going to be hopefully 2 weeks out. You just don't know. It could be even less than that, depending on what rules are set at what time.
Yeah, the worst part is that we're kind of in a holding pattern. I mean, we're in phase 1, which is 10 or under. We already know phase 2 is 50 and under. The problem with that is that's scheduled for 2 to 4 weeks. And you don't know whether it's going to be 2. You don't know whether it's going to be 4. Unfortunately, everything that's going on besides the pandemic right now could even push stuff back further. You don't know. Nobody knows. And we have no idea in the state of Virginia what phase 3 is going to even allow. So it is the toughest year I have ever had at a racetrack because you have to answer the question over and over again. When are you going to do something?
Yeah, that's the big question is, what will each of these phases, what are the details going to be for them? I will say I am a little optimistic now about phase 2 with what we may be able to do with the governor last week telling us, technically we can hold events now at these tracks. You just can't do it with fans, but, here's the procedures. Here's how you could run a race in phase 1. It's definitely not ideal. It's not how I want to do it. But the fact that we are able to operate under phase 1 makes me want to believe that there might be some easing of the restrictions in phase 2, which could come as soon as this Friday.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at that, hoping, to get some good news this week. And if not, phase 3 will be around the corner. And you're hoping phase 3, at least the overall meaning of phase 3 is basically supposed to be kind of the, we're basically out of the woods on this. There's not many, it's not so much rules as it is like guidelines and suggestions. So, hopefully we'll be wide open then.
Yeah. Obviously we've made the statement at Virginia Motor Speedway, we will not race without fans. It just, I know there are some racetracks that are doing that, some short tracks, but typically those racetracks are getting some checks written to them by the pay-per-view companies to be able to, for them to stream that event. In most cases, though, even with the pay-per-view, some of those tracks have said they've lost money, and it's just, as a business decision. I mean, we really don't want to race without fans. That's, from Virginia Motor Speedway. Everybody keeps asking us when and where. I said, well, once we know when and what we can do, then you can make a decision. You can't make a decision until then. And I know most of the short tracks in the state of Virginia are in that position, and it's weird to see some of these other states around us, like North Carolina, they're racing, but most of them are racing with no fans. They've decided that they want to go ahead and charge a little bit more at the back gate. We just don't want to do that. So I know you guys are sometimes in the same kind of boat as we are.
Yeah, it's definitely a fine balance, trying to figure out what's the best way to open with the given circumstances. Obviously, we do want to race. We want to get out here. I know our racers are ready to roll, but, a big part of what makes racing possible is sponsorship.
Yep.
And for sponsorship to work, you need eyeballs.
Yep.
So, it's a very fine balance. The pay-per-view thing is a great model if that works for them, and a lot more people south of Virginia are more used to that pay-per-view model as a way of watching
races.
So maybe that does work better for them out there. The consumer habit is already in place. For us up here though, it's not. We've had Fans Choice for years, and we got Track Pass this year once we get back going, but that's been a routinely free service. So I have a hard time seeing, our fan base putting the effort in to say spend, $20, $25 when they're used to, not having to pay for it at all.
Another issue that you, as well as South Boston and as well as Dominion, all have is that, normally you would be NASCAR sanctioned, but because of this pandemic and tracks not being able to open up all over the country, it's, if you open up and you get to race, you really aren't NASCAR sanctioned.
No, we wouldn't be, which would definitely be, I can't honestly tell you the last time we didn't have a NASCAR sanctioned event here as in a full day. But, at the same time, the drivers are here, they're competing for track points. Really the only thing the sanctioning, not having sanctioning races would mean for our racers is in national points. Everything else would be the same. All the rules are the same. All the procedures would be the same. It just technically wouldn't be a NASCAR event. It wouldn't count towards national points. Now, what's NASCAR going to do with all this once we kind of get to a point where all the tracks can open and they can go back to that program? I'm not sure what that means for this year. It's definitely going to change things up. I know they've talked about extending the national points deadline, which are normally in mid-September, to a later date, but we don't know what that date will be yet. So the national championship is definitely going to be interesting. Maybe there just isn't one this year. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But locally here, really the only thing that would look different from a NASCAR race is we just won't have up-to-date banners. We won't have a lot of the NASCAR branding that we're provided with each year. The stickers on the car, the contingency sponsors, those things would not be in place. So really that's about the only thing from our side that would look different.
Well, again, we were sitting here, we go, hey, we need to check up with Vaughan Crittenden. We need to check on Vaughan. Make sure he hasn't, doesn't have a knife at his wrist or something, you just got to catch up on you, man. Just got to make sure everything's, okay. I mean, that's a rough transition. The COVID.
Yeah, definitely a trial by fire for sure.
Hey,
hoping we can get open soon. And
just think though, Vaughan, it can't get any worse.
I was gonna say, you get through all of this stuff, the rest is a breeze.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
God, I would hope so. I don't want to find out something that's worse than this.
Yeah, folks. Again, Vaughan has done a phenomenal job at creating the vault over at Langley Speedway's website. That's langley-speedway.com and /the vault. Obviously, I'm sure there's a little banner or something you can click. You might not even have to.
We're working on that part of it. If anything, it's under the About Us section.
Yeah, About Us. Okay.
Yeah,
under the About Us. Vaughan, thanks so much for joining your old podcast and talking to us. We know that you are big time now, and
have fun editing it, guys.
Hey, we got new equipment.
That's fine with me.
All right. Well,
listen to it now.
Just say this. So far, it's 1 hour and 42 minutes.
It's without intro.
That's without intro. So
have fun with
then we got to go back and do the intro. So, but hey, thanks so much for joining us, bud, and we look forward to helping cover Langley Speedway's stuff as always. And we're gonna make it. I don't know if every week, but checking in with Vaughan.
Yeah.
We need to make that. We need to make that a segment.
Whenever appropriate.
Make that a segment.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Folks, he is the new promoter at Langley Speedway, Vaughan Crittenden, and former co-host of the Racing Virginia podcast. Thanks so much, bud.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Man, I'm telling you what. This has been 2 shows in one.
Yeah.
You know that,
True,
don't you?
Yeah.
But if you're gonna relaunch a show, why not relaunch it and just bam, you know?
Say go big or go home.
Yeah, go big.
But we've been home for a while now.
Yeah, I don't want to be home. I want to be. It seems weird because normally we'd be up in the suites, but man, today we've had to wear face masks. I had to have our temperature taken. We had to use Clorox wipes. It's all kinds of stuff. But folks, don't forget to follow our social media channels that Mr. Brandon Brown has always been handling.
Ever since I got to Richmond.
To Richmond.
At Racing Virginia, we're gonna have a lot of really cool stuff in store for you over the coming weeks, months, including the podcast and some more stuff.
Yeah, that's Twitter, Facebook,
and the Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
If we get more content, we'll go on like TikTok and stuff too. But you don't want to see me dancing.
No, neither me either. I did go on TikTok and get VA Motor Speedway just to make sure I had it.
Yeah.
When they first started. Who knows? This is probably going to end up on YouTube sometime. Once we go video. So just keep, chime in, go follow us. And, man, we can't thank you for checking in. Not sure where. I know this is going to be on the Racing Virginia website.
Yep.
We are going to effort to get it on other on your favorite podcasting sites.
Look at you. Perfect.
I know I'm trying to put it on Spreaker. Because I have a Spreaker account. We can go back on iTunes. We want to do Spotify. If you have a suggestion, you have a favorite podcasting
wherever you
stream or wherever you like to listen to your stuff, let us know, and maybe we can try to make it happen on there as well.
Send us a tweet. Send us a direct message on any social, or we'll be waiting to answer all your questions.
Folks, he is Brandon Brown, the social media expert at Richmond, not the driver. I'm Dave C. We can't thank all our guests, and we can't thank you enough for checking in. And we just want to remind you to keep racing, Virginia.